We are recording. Today is Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Todd Walters. With me is the Bojangler, Brad Staley. What's going on?
What's up, everyone?
We got a lot to talk about, I guess.
Well, you got a lot to talk about. I got a little bit to talk about and a lot of listening. It's okay. I'll ridicule everything you say, so it's all good. I'll have plenty to do.
I want you to ridicule me. I want you to challenge me. I want you to debate me.
Yeah. I don't know. You're good. Hey, good thing is it hasn't been 95 all week, so that's good. Things are changing.
It's nice. It's been nice since I got home.
Yeah, you brought some cooler weather back from New York.
I guess so.
On behalf of everybody down here, we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been very nice. And I think it's supposed to continue for like a week.
Yep. Things are fixing to get popping again for the fall after Labor Day. A lot of tournaments will be going. We got there's a BFL super, like this is super tournament time of the year. So the multi-day tournament. So you got the North Carolina division at Kerr the weekend after Labor Day. And then the week after that, I guess that would be around the 14th or something, the Piedmont divisions at High Rock. So got some stuff going on, championships coming up this fall. So good times.
Are you fishing any of that stuff?
I am. I'm going to do both of those BFLs for sure. And then
did you fish both of those? Did you fish both those BFLs?
All the BFLs I'm just doing the North Carolinas. I'm like 5th or 6th in the North Carolina points. After my
Did nobody show up this year?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. No, dude, I was once I got by Norman and had a decent tournament, got a check at Norman, I felt like I could compete for the, possibly get the Angler of the Year thing. And then High Rock, just typical High Rock, man. Just typical High Rock. I think I had 3 fish.
So you've done 4 tournaments already?
4, yep. This is the last one. So
Norman, where were the other 2? Bugs,
Kerr and High Rock. It was kind of a unique schedule this year. Normally they go to Wiley and stuff, but this year it was just Norman, High Rock, and Kerr. And they have 2 tournaments at High Rock, 2 tournaments at Kerr. So they had one in April or May at High Rock, and that was a good tournament. A lot of fish were caught, a lot of good weight. And then the June tournament is always the June tournament. Not going to be a lot of bites. Going to take a lot of weight. Better get them. Better get your bites in the boat.
Must be where they're getting the highest turnout.
Yeah, they've always. I mean, before
Bugs, I could see, in High Rock.
Yeah, Norman always gets a good turnout, but Norman's it's so
in
hard
the spring or February, March.
Yeah, it's hard to go to Norman after April because the boat traffic is so bad.
I fished a couple super tournaments there and a regional there. It was better during the regional, but during the super tournaments, it sucks.
Yeah, it's always right around Labor Day, and the boat traffic at Norman is ridiculous.
It's not even just the boat traffic. It's just, if you look at the weights from the last Toyota that was there and any of the BFL super tournaments or regionals that they have there, the weights are always slow. It gets difficult that time of the year. It gets difficult everywhere. We're getting into that late summer, early fall transition crap that it gets very difficult. I think the fish suspend a lot. But with forward fishing sonar, maybe that'll change.
No, they're going to outlaw it.
Sure they are.
Yeah, they had a cat at High Rock this weekend. Jeremy Talbert, Todd Haynes won that. Big surprise there. They had 18 pounds. It took right at 13 to get a check. Michael had a good turnout down there. I think he had 37 boats, so that was good. We got a benefit tournament this Saturday at High Rock for a little girl who is battling a brain tumor. So we're trying to raise some money for her family. She is from the Mount Holly area. A friend of mine kind of introduced me to the situation, and we jumped on board to help out with that. They got a lot of really cool auctions going on. I think David Williams, Shane Lineberger, I think someone else donated a jersey. So they're auctioning them off. Hey, I got Walters on here. We can get a Walters jersey to auction off as well to raise money.
Nobody wants that.
Oh, but they got a lot of good stuff. Matt McBee donated one of his handmade swim baits. So it's like a $250 swim bait. He donated one in a special color pattern for an auction prize to raise money. All that stuff's going on Facebook. You can find it on my Facebook page and click the link on there.
What day is that?
It is Saturday the 20th this weekend.
That's this Saturday.
That's this Saturday.
It's already the 20th of August. That's insane.
Yeah, it's flying by.
What ram? Tamarack?
I know we're going out of Southmont. So Tamarac's not tournament friendly at the moment.
Oh, boat traffic.
I don't know, some kind of traffic.
Why? What happened?
I don't know. I don't know. Just not.
Yeah, you're grinning. You do know something.
They're just not receptive to tournaments right now. Maybe after the summer's over with, they'll be more receptive. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay. All right. So what else is going on? So the Major League Fishing Championship is going on right now. My buddy Martin finished third today. I watched it a little bit today. It sucks to watch it because I want to be there fishing, but didn't make it this year. Looks like they're catching them good though. They said that the water's like 1 foot to 2 feet low. I know last year it was a little lower, and they had what happens there is you have a current, you have a 3 to 4 mile an hour current that goes from the lake out to the ocean, and today they had a northeast wind, and that's the toughest to fish because it blows against the current.
Stacks the water up.
Makes the water rough, and it makes it difficult to drift. Like you actually have to use your trolling motor to propel you to stay, because you want to stay with the same speed as the current.
I know once when Bassmaster, I think maybe the last time Bassmaster was up there, the last one that Van Dam won, it was in like, I don't know, 17, 18, something like that.
St. Lawrence?
Yeah.
Oh, that was in the spring. Wasn't he fishing like a spy bait or some crap?
He was fishing a spy bait, but no, that was in like July or August, because we were up there the week after that for Toyota.
Yeah, you're right. If this is on St. Lawrence, it had to be in the summer.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he caught some big ones. He caught like 6-pounder every day on a spot bait, but they had the same conditions. And he was talking about that it made it really tough because it spread the fish out. They would get out there and roam on those flats because they could swim around in the current. There wasn't where it backed the current up. It was, they wasn't setting in those breaks like they normally do.
Right. Slows the current flow down and the fish do spread out. And they typically, they're behind boulders and stuff like that, waiting for food to come by to ambush and eat. But anyway, I'll be there in a month. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun.
That's the last Toyota, right?
Yeah, it's the last Toyota in this division.
Where are you at in the points?
26. I got to finish 25th or higher to get to the. After Potomac, I was pleased to know that I was in 26. Then I should catch him at the St. Lawrence, and hopefully I'll qualify for the Toyota Championship.
Yeah, and that's at Gunnersville or something?
Gunnersville, yeah. Yep. So that would be fun. But fish fished Champlain back-to-back at Champlain. Champlain's a lot different now than it was a couple of years ago, and I think there's a couple things that have to do with that. There's not as much grass as there was. There's still a bunch there, but it's not like it was. Like you don't have those massive, expansive grass flats. And I don't know why. I don't know if they're spraying it or if it's just the water's changing. I don't know what it is, but there's not as much grass in there. So the largemouth fishing, largemouth didn't play in either tournament, and they usually do. I think last year when Brian Schmidt won, he won with in the Elite Series, he won fishing. I think he was catching a mixed bag, but he had smallmouth, but he definitely had some largemouth that he weighed in. And I didn't see anybody up near the top with largemouth consistently. You saw a couple 16, 17 pound bags of largemouth, but that wasn't enough to do anything. So totally dominated by smallmouth, totally dominated by forward facing sonar. Took me a little bit to figure it out. Again, with the 2 practice days, it's just Lake Champlain is massive. And of course it's bumpy. I mean, I had to screw in everything underneath my rub rail. I had to take all the screws out of my front dash with my 2 graphs on it and screw it and re-screw it with larger screws.
Been there.
You just beat the crap out of your equipment when you're there. It's tough to move around some days. We only had 2 practice days, but we had long days, so we got to fish for 15 hours both days. And I just never got on anything as far as largemouth go. I had some smallmouth that I just didn't have enough of them. There was some out there, but I was catching them out suspended on a Demiki rig. So the first day I fished largemouth and didn't do well at all. and I went up and fished some smallmouth, and I caught a 4 something, and I caught another 3.5. So I got to weigh in those two at the end of the day. So I just committed to fishing smallmouth the second day, and it just didn't happen for me. So I ended up going up catching some largemouth. I caught 3 in like 15 minutes, and then I went back out. But after that, during practice, I mean, I just pretty much committed to fishing for smallmouth, and I found a bunch of different areas, and I kind of pieced it together, and they were in the scattered grass, and I was afraid it was going to get too warm because it did get up to 92 days when we were there. Typically that makes them go out, or smallmouth don't like warm water, and the water was getting around 80. It was getting close to 80 degrees. So they were out roaming, chasing these big, massive alewife schools. Have you ever seen those?
Mm-mm.
When you see them on live scope, it looks like the ocean and the way that the bait fish move. If you've ever seen like a National Geographic video in the ocean, when you see the big schools of mackerel that the marlin eat, it looked just like that. Like you could tell that it was definitely alewives. And they're about 4 to 5 inches long. They look like a big threadfin shad. And the smallmouth just, they eat those. And there's just so much food in that lake, man. There's so many perch and so many bluegill and so many, but I guess they're called emerald shiners. They don't get very big, and they're long and skinny. And I think there's smelt in there, and they got these gigantic schools of alewives. So the fish were kind of spread out, but you can catch them in the grass. If you could find scattered grass, especially where it made a point. They wanted the grass that came all the way up to the top where you could see them on live scope and throw out to them, see a scattered or isolated grass clump, and anywhere from 12 to 20 feet of water. I had several schools of fish that I could catch. Both of my co-anglers both made it to the top 25, and they were in 6th and 7th, I think, going into the last day. But they caught them just as good as I did, because I really didn't have an advantage. I mean, there were fish that I could see on live scope, but you know how that goes, man. If there's one, there's usually several around. They may not be in a tight wad, but there's usually more than one around. So I'd line up, pick one off on live scope, and I'd turn around, and my co-angler would be, doubled over. He'd have a fish on, and they both caught good fish. So they both made the cut. I almost made the cut. Just slipped up a little bit. It's weird to say, but you average, 18.5 pounds, and you're disappointed. But that lake's just got so many 3 to 4 pound smallmouth bass, and that's the difference. It's like you catch those mid 3s, high 3s, and you're close, but you really got to have 4-pounders right now.
Yeah, it was crazy, those weights. I mean, it's probably the best I've ever seen Champlain. And I mean, I've been up there 3 times, and it usually takes around 30 to get a check, generally, is what, it's going to take 15 a day to get a check. And
it was all smallmouth, dude.
Yeah,
I
15.
mean, literally, it was all smallmouth. Everybody kind of figured it out. They were, everybody's throwing different stuff. Some people were throwing Ned rigs, some people were throwing spy baits, but the two predominant patterns were people fishing that scattered grass. There's a few community holes there that were loaded up, and all of them were catching them there, and they were all using forward facing sonar, throwing a drop shot or a Ned rig. Some guys were throwing a jerk bait, some guys were throwing a spy bait. I just don't, spy bait for me is just so risky, and I think they're getting conditioned to it. Like, they weren't really on it. I know some guys caught them on it, and I did catch a fish. If you saw my Facebook video, on the second day, it was first thing in the morning, I fired my spy bait out there, started cranking it back, and I was using 10-pound braid, and the fish bit, and I broke it off like right at the reel, and the line went right through the guides. And I'm like, well, it's a spy bait, so there's a chance that he might still be on it. So I trolling motored over, grabbed the line, and pulled in about 40 feet of fluorocarbon line, braided line, and I actually netted the fish and got it. And it was a 3.5 pound smallmouth, but they just wouldn't get the spy bait. I lost way too many fish on it. The drop shot, they were just smashing a drop shot, and you could drop. Guys were throwing flatworms, which they always do up there. Anything in the mellow natural green color, green pumpkin or a goby type color, they'll eat it. But I threw a bigger Z-Man bait. It's almost their fluke. Forget what it's called.
Do you think the gobies are getting more prevalent up there?
I didn't see any. I didn't catch any fish that spit up any. I didn't feel like I had a goby, bite. Dude, there's so many perch in that lake. They're everywhere. Like you can see gigantic schools of perch just out in 30, 40 feet of water, just smashing bait. And they're 4 to 5 inches long, but they are everywhere in that lake. And I had a couple fish spit up those. I had a couple fish spit up alewives. But I noticed after the first day of the Toyota, like my whole live well was covered in crawdads, and I hadn't seen that. So the second day, I lost the first 2 fish that I hooked. So I put on an ultra vibe speed craw and on a drop shot and threw it out there. And you would, throw it out in front of the boat and you would see it fall. And when it was falling, that drop shot wave was pulling it down and its little pinchers were kicking. Dude, you'd see smallmouth come from like 20 feet away and just smash it. It was a lot of fun. I did catch some fish on a spook too, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I hated to leave and come back here. And now we're in the toughest part of the season, but it's always fun up there. You always catch them. You can catch as many largemouth as you want to. They don't weigh like the smallmouths do right now.
Yeah, I was going through here, iCast was going on while you were in New York. Have you had time to look at anything from it?
I've seen the stuff that I'm affiliated with. Like I saw the Lose stuff. I saw the Strike King stuff. I had heard about most of the stuff that came out before. I was actually driving to New York because I talked to David Williams and he was driving back from iCast when iCast was going on.
Yeah, did you see anything that like caught your attention or whatever?
I don't think so, man. I mean, I know Berkeley's got a bunch of stuff coming out, but everybody's just kind of copying each other now. So
yeah, there's really, I mean, everything. It's basically, a new version of a vibrating jig. I did see a tungsten vibrating jig that I thought was kind of cool because it would definitely make a different sound.
Isn't a jackhammer a tungsten weight?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Jackhammer is it's a smaller one. So yeah, never mind on that.
But I think Strike King now has one.
Yeah, I saw a net that has a scale built into it. I thought that was kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
I don't know how accurate it would be or whatever because it's like one of those spring loaded deals.
Yeah,
but that's kind of cool. Frable has a net with a scale, built-in 30-pound scale, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. I mean, nothing really stood out as anything revolutionary. Lose has got a new like a 9:8 to 1 or something ratio reel. I think it was 39 or 41 inches per handle turn.
Yeah.
So
I got 4 of them.
You got the Tackle Warehouse version last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Whatever that was. Is that the same reel? It is.
Mm-hmm. I think they just let Tackle Warehouse release it a year early before they did.
I got you. Yeah,
weird.
I saw that. I'm gonna pick up some of those for sure because flipping top water type stuff, anything on the bottom or top water, like I really like a high speed reel.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was nothing else that really stood out.
They had a new line of rods out. I know they're a little bit more. I think they're the most expensive rods they've ever come out with, $340, $350, something like that.
I saw the line, but I didn't pay attention to the price on it. Cashin released a new rod. This is BFS. It's bait finesse system. It's a bait caster made for like finesse, shad wraps, stuff like that, small light baits. The bait fuel craze is out there. What do you think about bait fuel?
So the first day, my co-angler probably had 2 or 3 fish before, and I only had 1. And he said, I said, what are you throwing? And he showed me what he was throwing, and he was throwing like a little Zoom, looks like a baby fluke, and it was like had a chartreuse tail on it. So I'm like, oh, it must be that you're dipping your tail in chartreuse because it was overcast, and sometimes smallmouth like chartreuse when it's overcast like that. So I started dipping it. He said, also, I'm using bait fuel. He said, I think it's, snake oil, but I am using bait fuel. So I started using it and quickly caught up and caught some fish, but I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
It doesn't hurt, right?
No. I mean, I think any kind of scent that kind of masks whatever you potentially had on your hands or something like that helps out for sure. But they did an incredible job of marketing it. But I don't know. I haven't seen
That is for
anything.
sure.
Yeah, they've done an incredible job of marketing it. Um, I'm almost back to that reel, I think. No.
So I've always used like on my slower moving stuff, jigs, flipping baits, stuff like that. Like I've used scent and I've, marinated baits, put, take 10 or 12 tubes or a brush hog or whatever and throw it in a sandwich bag and then put real craw in it or whatever and shake it up and let it soak. I don't know, man. It like I said, it doesn't hurt. You may get another extra bite or two, but
Yeah, I've always done that as well, especially on my jig trailers and worms and things like that. Like you said, anything that's kind of on the bottom, I mean, doesn't hurt. And then like I definitely try to do it if I use super glue, if I glue my trailer on or something,
yeah.
then I
Yep.
definitely want something to try to cover up that super glue. I can't say that it hurts, but it probably doesn't help, as
Yeah.
far as when you glue it, it's not helping. That's like, I don't try to, especially with diesel, like I definitely don't try to buy fuel on my way to the lake in the morning for a tournament. I usually try to fill my truck up on the way home. So, but
Interesting. Yeah, I'm with you on the super glue stuff. Anytime I super glue something, um I definitely spray my baits to cover up that super glue scent. Does it make a difference? I don't know. It makes a difference to me. So
and that's the biggest part of all of it. Like if you don't believe in what you're doing, if you believe something's wrong or something's not right, just like the thing with you in the tournament, your co-angler caught some fish and automatically put it in your head. You're like, I don't know if it's right or not, but I'm fishing for some money, so I'm gonna do something different.
yeah, yeah,
But
I'm
it
not that's why I picked up the speed car on the second day. I had this high school, he just graduated high school, really good kid. He's going to Tennessee. You'll hear about him in the future. He's a really good. I had two really good fishermen at Toyotas, and the first kid was from Minnesota, and he fished for smallmouth all the time. He was a really good fisherman. And then the second day, I had the kid, and I knew the kid just from the way he was talking to me. I knew he was going to catch him, and he did. It took him. He had four. We went out and started fishing alewife fish, and it really puts the co-angler at a disadvantage because you're just looking for schools of those, and there would be two or three blotches, on the outside of the alewife school, and you just fire over there and catch one. And I hung one. It was a good one, about a 4-pounder, and he jumped and got hung up in my live scope thing right at the boat because I caught him like 5 feet under the boat in like 50 feet of water. And I hooked him. He came. Smallmouth always comes straight up out of the water. When he came up, he went back down and wrapped my line around my live scope transducer. But he had four fish, and I had, I don't know, 18 something. And I'm like, I gotta go. If I'm gonna catch a four or something, it's gonna be out in those out in those alewife. I keep wanting to call them herring, alewife fish. So I went out there and about 10 minutes, man. I didn't catch a fish. I wasn't seeing much. So I'm just like, man, you need your fifth fish. I want you to be able to fish tomorrow. So I went back up in the grass, and he ended up throwing a Carolina rig with a speed craw on it. And that's why I started throwing that speed craw.
it's amazing. You learn a lot from co-anglers over the years. I mean, I can't even count all the stuff that I've learned from co-anglers or seen different things, or just you get so locked in on what you're doing and the way you fish, and then there might be a different bait that or just that day or whatever. But I've definitely learned some stuff from co-anglers over the years.
You can get waxed by a co-angler up north if you're fishing for smallmouth like that. Like that would have been my biggest fear, was to get waxed by somebody, because it's happened before, and it does happen. If you get a co-angler that knows how to fish for smallmouth, he'll catch them. You
Anywhere
can't
you
block them.
go, yeah, anywhere you go, Florida and up north, any grass lake is easy for a co-angler. Potomac River is a co-angler's dream. You don't have
Yeah.
to fight the boat, you don't have to worry about nothing, you just cast.
Yep.
But yeah, but then you go to High Rock fishing docks in the summertime, not a co-angler's dream. Bad.
No, no, that's when you get the co-angler who throws like a Ned rig behind you. You're throwing a jig or flipping a creature bait or something, and then
Mm-hmm.
he whacks a 6-pounder behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it can happen.
Yep.
But anyway, it was fun having co-anglers again. I mean, both the guys were really good. It was if guys that are listening, I mean, if you've ever considered, I want to say this with with an asterisk next to it. If you decide that you do want to go smallmouth fishing, you've never done it before. I mean, going as a co-angler in the Toyota Series or the Bass Open or a tournament that's got 80% of the fishermen are good fishermen and can catch fish. It's definitely an option. Go as a co-angler, make the drive. It takes anywhere from 12, 14 hours to get up to Champlain or the St. Lawrence River. And if you've never experienced it, I highly suggest you give it a shot. And that's one way to do it and get, you got to pay an entry fee, but you're going to get a guide for 2 days, basically for 8 hours. So it's not a bad deal. I think the entry fees for Toyotas are $500. So that's $250 a day. I mean, that's less than getting a guide. Now, here's the asterisk part. You may get that 10 to 15%. I took 2 guys last year to fish the Toyota at the St. Lawrence, and they fished with me all week, and we smashed them all week. And then they get in the boat with their boaters, and their boater has them in a foot of water in crystal clear water, throwing a Senko on 2-pound line. And yeah, so there is always that, but you got a 75-80% chance that you're going to get matched up with somebody who can catch fish. But it's an option.
You're going to be around them, even that
Right.
foot of water. Those guys catch them on a frog up there. Good, some largemouth fishing.
Yeah. Yep. But definitely fun up there. I'm looking forward to getting back up there and fishing the last St. Lawrence tournament. I was watching them fish today, and I was getting in my boat, messing around with stuff, getting ready.
So what are you fishing next?
Just that Toyota and then the championship, if I make
Gotcha.
it.
You're not fishing anything this weekend?
No, I'm gonna take a couple weekends off, and me and the wife are gonna go hang out because
Cool.
we got a wedding to go to one weekend, and then I'm gone like the weekend after that. So, and I'll be gone for a week again.
Give me your spiel on forward facing sonar.
I just don't get it. I mean, I've seen it with every new technology that's ever come out. First, it was the flasher. That was before my time, but guys started bitching that other guys had flashers. And then color display came out. And then the next biggest one was structure scan or side view. Then that's cheating. Now this live forward facing sonar is cheating. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And there's one particular bass fisherman that seems to be making a very big stink about it. He just needs to shut up. I know why he does it. He does it to get guys that'll watch and get clicks, get views. But you're telling me that guy, if he was still fishing, wouldn't be using forward facing sonar? You are sorely mistaken. This is a guy that sunk his boat to get to fish that other anglers couldn't get to, for competitive advantage. Is it
Wasn't that at
legal?
Kerr?
Yes. Yeah, it was at Bugs to get under the low water bridge. Back in the 90s or whatever. And I mean, dude, just it's not going to happen. They're not going to ban it. You have to have it, especially if you compete at this level.
Not just have it, but understand how to use it.
Exactly. Like you can have it. It's not, you're not going to buy a live scope, go out there, and they're just going to jump in the boat. You got to learn how to use it. It's an art. And there's guys that are way better at it than I am. It's getting, the more that these guys are using it, the more that they're understanding how to do things just way quicker. And with only 2 practice days, I mean, I got to have it. I got to have the best technology I can have in my boat to help me find fish quick. And if you want to outlaw it in smaller tournaments or have clubs that don't allow it, that's one thing. But at the professional level, or if you're paying money to fish, over $100 entry fee, if you're paying money to fish, man, you should be able to use whatever technology is available. That's my thing on it. You gotta, but see, I get everybody else's perspective too. I do. It's expensive. It's not cheap to have all this technology on your boat. And I get it. You know, some guys can't afford it or don't want to spend that much money on fishing. And for us to have it and compete in lower level tournaments, I get it. It's going to piss some people off. It may cause me to stop fishing, you know, open tournaments and stuff once the fish get off the shore. So I probably won't be doing many opens or wildcats anymore, but I just don't want to hear it anymore.
It's very interesting that affects people just going to the lake, having a good time. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
But it's just like anything else, man. Do you know how many people have, you know, $130,000 boats decked out with the latest, greatest technology and still can't catch fish because they don't know how to use it? They buy it thinking that it's just going to work by itself and the fish are just going to jump in the boat. I think the most frustrating thing, and you can either agree or disagree with me, is to go out there and fish for fish that you see on your screen. You see where your bait is and how they react to it. And they're just like, nope, ain't gonna happen.
Oh yeah, you see them. That's the thing. When I first started fooling with it, I mean, you would throw, like, you go to random and you basically throw anywhere around a point and watch your bait, and there'd be 3 or 4 of them run up to it as it's coming back, and they wouldn't bite it, they wouldn't eat it. Yeah. You know, they never even want to put their mouth on it. And you're just like, if there's 3 or 4 of them, they got to be competing for food. So why are they not eating my junk? And but
I mean, it's you still got to catch them. And I tell that to everybody, you know, you still got to catch them. Man, this Garmin, this live scope thing's ruining fishing. And you just sound like a boomer. You sound like a person that's afraid of change. I mean,
it's changing. It's not ruining.
See,
it's just changing.
It is. It's changing. And
you can either change with it or I mean, and there'll probably be, I mean, potentially there's probably going to be some kind of clubs and stuff, like you said, that ban it or whatever. And there's just,
yeah, I mean,
there's a time and a place
turn it off, whatever. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't, it's not going to help you in February. Well, all right. So maybe February, but like March, April, May, it's not going to help you. It will help you in the fall and every other time of the year, but in the springtime, it's not going to help you.
Yeah, fish have got to be basically bait related for the most part for it to really help, or out, you know, point, stuff like that. When they're on the bank, you go down the bank, guess what? It's not, you're not doing anything with that thing. Yeah. But some people just look for something to complain about.
You think? No.
They wake up in the morning trying to find their next complaint department.
Yes. I agree. I put a post out there. You know, I did that video on the XR and I put the video out there. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's pretty cool. I found a sailboat when I was out there messing around with it. Anyway, when I went out there, you know, I filmed the video, I posted it on my page, and then somebody I don't even know was just like, what's next? This is bullshit. You know, you're cheating, something like that. I wanted to have a debate to get somebody's perspective from the other side. And, you know, we talk to people at tournaments and guys that show up at the weigh-ins and stuff, and they talk to us about forward facing sonar, trade shows or whatever. And they're just like, you know, oh, I can't afford it, which I get.
But it's definitely more affordable now than it was. I mean, you could get you could buy, I bought my 9-inch new for like $600. Yeah. And then now the 32 transducer, I mean, I'm sure you can get one of those for a used one for $800. I know you can, because I had to buy one because mine messed up. So, I mean, you could have $1,500 invested in a system. And that's, I mean, that's a power pole. That's, you know, that's not that much money when you're talking about a $40,000 boat at a minimum.
I think also there's the variable of people are afraid of technology.
They don't want to do it. They don't want to change. Yeah.
They don't want to change. You know, they got their fish finder that works just great for them, and that's fine, but just don't bitch when I want the latest and greatest stuff. I have to have it. I have to have it to be able to compete at this level. I have to.
When I first got started,
and I'm not taking it off my boat to go fish, you know, Blues on Friday night or Monday night or whenever the hell they fish, or Oak Hollow or High Rock or Big Bass at Randleman or whatever. It's silly. And now, you know, what's funny is like, out of all the bass boats that are out there, 60 to 70% of them now have it. So I will say this, I know you have the 32, right? Alaska 32. Okay. So while I was gone in New York, I put the new transducer on Shane Limburger's boat, and I put the new transducer on Brent Crow's boat. And both of them texted me halfway through the day the next day, and they were like, dude, this is way better than the last one.
You're talking about
And
XR or the Plus?
no, the 34. I think it's the 34 is the newest one. So the XR, I don't know if we ever talked about it. I did a video on it. It's on my YouTube page. You can see out 300, 400 feet. I don't think the detail is as good between 0 to 50 feet. You can zoom in still, and you can only use it. You can still, I usually shoot around 100, 120 feet with what I have now. With the 32, I only shot out like 60, 70 feet. With the 34, I shoot out, okay, 110. With the XR, if I was at 110, the detail wasn't as good. But I could shoot out 300, 400 feet. And if there was a school of bait out there, I could see them. So I think it's more for like saltwater fishing. I think that's what they're marketing it for. I don't know if I had the choice. I don't know. I think I would stay with the 34. I just don't know how it gets any better than what it is with the 34. I'm sure eventually it will, but dude, it is so good on that 34. Just the target separation. Once you get it really dialed in, I mean, I was watching those smallmouth swim through the grass, and being on the water for a week straight and just straight messing with that thing, I could see what were perch, I could see what were pike, I could see what were drum, I could see what were smallmouth, I could see I could see everything. And I was fishing scattered grass, and you could see them moving through the grass, man. It's just, especially on calmer days, it was killer.
That's what the little bit that I've messed with the 34. I've been in a couple of boats that's had it. And the separation, I mean, the detail definitely was what I noticed was better. And it seems like what I've heard guys talk about the 34, further away from the boat, it's even better detail. Like you said, I mean, I run mine like 50 to 70 feet, the 32 and the 34. I saw some crappy guys, they had it, and that's what they were talking about, just the target separation. But he said the same thing when he first got it. He didn't like it because he had to figure out how to get it set up. Just his settings were completely different from how they were using it on the 32.
Yeah, so they got this color limit thing now. So I've gone on other people's YouTube pages and I've messed around with it for a bunch now. And for what I have found for me, and every unit's different. We've talked about this before. I truly believe that each transducer, each box, each fish finder, they're all different. Some of them have better, stronger signals. Some people plug it in, they're like, holy crap, this is perfect. And if you have it on the default settings with the 34, with the newest software, it's pretty good. But when you start changing depths and you go from, you're fishing 17 to 18 feet of water, and then you go out and you fish 30 to 40 feet of water, you have to change your settings. And the main thing is the gain. I have my TVG is off. I have my noise reduction on high. I have my color gain at about 50, and I have my color limit at about 20. And then I have on-screen control. I have the gain on my on-screen control. And the best color I like is that yellow color. Spotlight, I think it's called, headlight, something like that. It's really good color palette for the new one. You could really see, and again, body water is going to matter, water clarity is going to matter, depth is going to matter. You have to kind of screw around with it, but gain is the main thing. Once you get the main setting set up, just screw around with your gain.
That's what's up. What else do you got?
What else do I got? The elites are going to Oahe to fish for smallmouth.
Yeah, Fritz led the first day the last time they were up there. Mark Daniels Jr. ended up winning that tournament, but Fritz had like a 20 low 20 bag the first day.
Hey, smallmouth?
I can't remember if there's smallmouth or largemouth.
I think it's mainly smallmouth. I don't know if there are any largemouth in that lake. I talked to David about it when I was driving up to New York. He was telling me about it. Brian Schmidt went there last. It was right before we roomed together at the Toyota Championship. He had just gone to pre-practice, and he said that lake's got him. It's got a bunch of fish in it. I
I
guess
know
it's
the lake's like massive.
huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge lake, but like 20 something hour drive, something like that. It's pretty far.
Yeah. Yeah. That's looking, if I do the National Professional Fishing League next year, get to go to Amistad, Del Rio, Texas,
Is their
17
schedule
hours.
out?
Mm-hmm.
What's their schedule?
Not good for diesel consumption to get there. It's Amistad, and Amistad is not even a figure of what it used to be. It's pitiful. And Tex,
What do you mean?
the weights are not. They had the last big tournament they had out there was like a Toyota 2 years ago, and one day got canceled because of the wind, and I think it took 25 27 pounds to win it. It was like 12 pounds a day. But yeah, the weights are, and I looked at, they had a big fish thing out there, and it paid like $20,000 to win, and the big fish for the whole deal was like a 5.5 in Texas. But then they go to Texarkana.
Whew, I'm looking at the schedule.
Yeah, freaking Eufaula in Oklahoma, Wisconsin. The only thing they got out right now that's East Coast is Santee. They got one event they haven't finalized, the last one. Yeah, it's brutal travel.
Saginaw Bay.
Yeah, they fished up there the last 2 years, and they call it largemouth up there really good this year. Which I think they caught largemouth up there both years, but I think that's what won this year was largemouth.
I like that they're doing different lakes.
They are doing different lakes. Yeah. Yeah.
But that is 2 trips to Texas.
Wisconsin. Well, see, this year was more kind of East Coast. And then next year it's going to be more, and maybe, maybe they're flip-flopping back and forth. Maybe that's what they're doing, trying to, because you got a lot of Texas, you got a lot of Oklahoma guys, so maybe that's what they're doing. But yeah, it's I looked at it, I'm looking at about 10,000 miles next year to do all 6 of them.
That's it. Amistad. I've never even heard of the second lake in Texarkana.
Yeah, I think the weights were a little better there than the Amistad. Yeah, Amistad, if you could have went out there, Velvic, Aaron Martins, and they were catching them that first tournament they had out there when they had like, I think that it's either there or Falcon where the 4-day record is at, I think.
Falcon.
Yeah.
Like everybody had 100 pounds of Falcon.
Yeah.
Matt Reed, who fishes our tour, I talked to him a couple of times. He guides down there. He was telling me about it. He said it's been good. The water's really low right now, but he said it's been really good.
Yeah, they go through major like swings with the water level down there. And I think that's what keeps most of those lakes good. That's why they got so many bushes in them and stuff, and it gives the fish something to spawn around. They got grass. Just the way the lake comes down, it gives those bushes a chance to grow. I remember when High Rock was down, and it was in 2001 or 2 when it was 20 foot low, and the bushes were just everywhere for 10 years. And now there's a few bushes left in High Rock, but it's nothing like it used to be.
Right. But you didn't really provide any input into the forward-facing sonar debate. You just kind of let me do the talking, and then you didn't say anything.
Well, I don't have
have an opinion.
No, I mean, I think, I agree with what you're saying. It's just changed fishing. You can either change with it or you can resist it, and right now it doesn't look like anything's changing. I did see where a muskie tour banned it from their events. Some professional muskie something, I don't know, but they banned it from there. So I thought that was interesting. That a professional trail ban it. But I don't think it's going to change. I don't think anything's going to change in the major trails. You may have some clubs or something that ban it, and that's fine. If guys don't want to fish with it, don't fish against it. But it's like you said, it doesn't make them jump in the boat. It's very frustrating to fish with a thing. And I'll be honest, like, I'm trying to spend more of my time finding schools of fish on down imaging and side imaging, because once you find them with forward facing sonar, you can usually catch them but it's harder to find those schools with just regular down image and side imaging for me, just idling around, just looking for schools of fish instead of fishing, just idling. That's what I'm trying to get better with doing. How much time do you spend idling in practice for the tour? You got 2 days of practice. I'm
Depends
sure.
on where we're going, but yeah, I mean, at least half of my time is spent looking
Yeah.
around,
Yeah. You're
especially with
just,
2 days of practice.
yeah, you're
You
looking for
can't be
schools to
just
fish.
out there dicking around fishing all day.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna cover nowhere near the amount of water. And I'm sure most of the guys you see are just idling. You don't, I mean, most of the boats idling around.
Yeah. I'm getting programmed though. I mean, even when I go out to fun fish now, or I'm fishing with somebody else and I hop in their boat, I'm just like, we've been here for 5 minutes. We haven't gotten a bite, man. Move along. Like, go, go. That's the one that, one of the advantages of getting good with live scope is when you pull up and you see those fish, you can tell if they're going to bite or not. Yep. They'll tell you right away if they're going to bite or not. A lot of mistakes people make is they'll chase them around and try to get them to bite. And sometimes you just got to move on.
So
Find
what do
another
you
group of fish.
what is your thing with that? Like if you make 5 throws and you don't get a bite, you roll on, or
Pretty much. If I put something in front of them and they don't even act, it depends. If I throw out there and they don't even react or they run away from it, if I do that once or twice, then I'm like, okay, these fish are either pressured or they're conditioned to whatever I'm doing. I may try a different bait, see how they react to it. And if they don't react to it, like you could see fish coming up for a spy bait and just following it and following it and following it and never touch it. Like you could see your spy bait coming through the grass. You'd see the fish get behind it. Very, very rarely did you see a fish come across and smash it. But you saw that drop shot out there and almost every single fish would eat it. But if I pull up on a spot and they run from me, I have to kind of gauge if I think about it and I get them interested in something and I think it's a good group of fish, I'll spend a little bit of time on them and mix it up, throw different crap at them until they bite something, try to get them to react. If they don't react, then I'll try something finessing. If they don't bite that, and if they just don't bite, I move on. But I'm not going to sit there all day on a group of fish and wait for them to decide to bite. That's not smart, in my opinion.
I get it.
You want to find several different groups of fish that now what I will do is I'll mark that spot. I'll go back to it. If I go somewhere else and I go through a rotation and I'm just not getting bites, I'll go back to the first spot, or conditions change. The wind picks up and and it groups those fish up a little bit and they're not as spooky because the wind's breaking up the surface or whatever. Whatever the situation is, if something changes, I'll keep that in the back of my mind and I'll go back to those fish if no one else is on them. And sometimes, especially up north, you get on a group of fish, you get off of them, they will get back together. You go back 2-3 hours later, you're going to catch a couple more fish. I can promise you. I did that at least once every day. I had a rotation of 4 or 5 holes I'd just go through. Sometimes they would bite, sometimes they wouldn't, but most times they bit. But you can tell right away what the mood is like.
Sweet.
What else you got?
I don't got nothing.
So we're both for technology and for forward tip facing sonar, but we understand where people are coming from.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I think some people just look for things to complain about.
That is for sure. But if it was something stupid, I would ignore it, but I do get it. I do.
I think some people, I mean, the being able to afford it and stuff. I mean, if you got somebody that's dominating every event, that's one thing. But I mean, you look at you going to Ocala, all the out places at Ocala. Did you dominate when you were going over there after they moved off the bank?
No.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like it doesn't, like you said, it's not a whistle and they just come jump in the boat because you got it with a little white flag surrendering. You still got to figure out how to catch them.
Yeah. Yep. That's a perfect example. Like I can only be at one place at one time. And those fish are not in one place.
Well, that's just like
everybody knows the good out places there. And everybody knows that if you pull up at the right spot at the right time, you're going to catch a 6 or 7 pounder.
And usually that's the thing with timing. They got like when I come over there and talk to guys and hear guys talk about, they pulled up with 30 minutes to go before the end of the tournament, and they were there. Like that, it wasn't anything about their ability that made that. They did make a good choice to go there, or they may have only went there because there was somebody else sitting where they wanted to go. But they pulled up when those fish were actively up there feeding, made 3 throws, won the tournament. It was over. You know, but look at all those fish that are out there in the bubbles.
Good point. Lots of fish in those bubbles. Very hard to catch, but they're there.
The only thing I have consistently been able to catch those fish with, and they're not, I don't catch any of the good ones. I think the good ones stay down deeper, but is a pond size spinnerbait, a little bitty, like 3/16 ounce spinnerbait with little bitty blades on it. And they will like jump out of the water. I mean, it's crazy watching them fish in there like right before dark.
What if you could throw a spy bait out there and catch them?
Possibly.
Did you change? Huh?
Did you change your hooks out on spy bait?
Yes. Yeah, I put Berkeley Fusions on it.
I mean, you go like because they come with like 6s, don't they?
I think they're smaller than that. I think they're
8s, maybe
7s or 8s. They're a little bit smaller because the one that I put on there, thing with the spy bait is you want that wiggle when it falls, and if you put treble hooks on it that are a little bit too big, it won't shimmy right. You want to have that shimmy. You want
to get that shimmy. You got to get that shimmy right. Yeah, got to get that shimmy right.
When they are on it, I don't know if you used it up there, but when they are on it, man, it's fun.
No, I have not. I don't know if I've ever caught a fish on a spot bait.
That and a spook. They were smashing a spook at Champlain the second day. That was a blast.
Yeah, that was.
And a couple of days during practice, the conditions were right. And the smallmouth will come. You can see them dart up from 25 feet of water and just absolutely submarine your spook. That's a blast. But the hook up to catch ratio isn't the greatest either because they jump. God, they jump like 3-4 feet in the air. It's insane. They're nuts. A lot of fun.
Oh, show.
So is this our smallmouth episode, I guess, right?
Absolutely. We smallmouthed it up.
Yep. Well, that's all I got. I don't really have anything else. I don't even know of anything that's going on. The elites are at Oahu, and then they go to the Mississippi River. The Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit Championships going on right now. And I think that's it. There's a couple other scatterings of openings, but guys are having their, I mean, we're getting close to deer season, so guys are going to start finishing up their bass fishing seasons.
Yeah,
so
need y'all to go out there and kill. Yeah, need y'all to go out there and kill some too, because I've seen way too many on the side of the road waiting to run across the road. Yeah, they're everywhere. With that
there's bears in Kernersville now.
Yeah, I've seen the video.
Blows my mind. Like people are taking pictures of them right down the street from me.
Yeah, it's like rolling through the drive-through at the local fast food place. You know, went through Bojangles looking for a Bojangler. No, so when it was cool. The first night it was cool here, I think, was Saturday night. It was like 59 or 60 or something. And I went to Bugs Sunday, and I probably seen 10 dead deer on the side of the road going up there. And I guess it was just the cool weather got them out, got them active.
Yeah, usually you don't see that until like mid to late October when they start rutting. Then they start just running everywhere, and they don't care. That's when you usually see it. Start seeing more dead on the road. But yeah, it's like high probability that cooler weather got them up moving around.
Yep. All right.
Cool. That's all I got. We'll do another one of these in a couple of weeks when we have something else to talk about that's interesting. But I think this was a good discussion. I think we gave our opinion. I think everybody's going to have their opinion. You know, not everybody's going to agree with me, but that's just my perspective. But I see everybody's side on this thing. So I play Switzerland on this one. I get it, but I need it. I like it. It's fun. Staley, what else you got? Any more bashes?
We got one September 24th and 25th at High Rock.
You gonna have one anywhere else, or you just gonna keep having them at High Rock?
Not this year. Show up. If guys will show up at the other lakes, then we'll do one on another lake.
I can't believe you couldn't get guys to show up in Raleigh.
We did
surprised me.
We did okay. We did okay down there, and we're going back down there.
Did you ever do one in Jordan?
We did. The one we did it. I think we've done 2 in Jordan. We did one in the fall one year. When I first started doing them, we had like 25 people show up. And then we did one in the spring in March. And it was like 25 that day. Major cold front. He came through the day before. It was horrible, which always happens to me when I have something at Jordan in the spring. But yeah, we only had like 20, 25 people. But that's before we kind of got the following we got now. We're going back down there. We've done okay at falls. We've got in the 80s at falls. So we're gonna go back to one of them. I think the weights seems like the fish, and it seems like Jordan's fishing the best of all of them right now.
Seems like it.
Has been this year. I mean, they had a Collins down there. It's probably been about 3 weeks or so now, but Shane Burns is the guy that had the 40-pound bags at Harris. He had 31, 32, something like that. And I mean, that's mid-July.
Yeah.
That's
I
insane.
saw a picture of a guy on I don't know who he is, but he's on my Facebook feed. He had like a 9 something that he pulled out of there. There's a bunch of big fish. I mean, lake seems to be fishing really well. How many 30-pound bags were caught in the spring this year? It's crazy.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks. We appreciate it. Thanks to our sponsors too, like Bojangles and AAR Roofing and Ionic Batteries and Garmin and Stryker, Nitro, Mercury. Thank you all. We lose. Lose. Strike King. We love you guys.